After testing many onion ring recipes, and most being either flavorless or soggy, I have narrowed it down to these top 2 recipes: a crunchy, flavored onion ring and a bare battered onion ring. The best onion to use is a white onion, so just ignore me using yellow onions. Start peeling the outer layer. This top layer is all slimy and not good to use, so make sure to fully remove it. Once the onion is cleaned up, I am going to cut it into 2 or 3/4 inch slices, give or take. Then pop out the middle half and place those on the side. They can be used for other recipes, but for onion rings, we are going to use the bigger ones. Now, in 3 separate bowls, we are going to set up our breading station. In our first bowl, I'm going to add 2 cups of regular all-purpose flour, followed by 2 cups of buttermilk. Buttermilk will help give the onion an extra level of flavor. Finally, for our final coating, in a large bowl, add 2.5 cups of flour, 1.25 cup cornstarch, a teaspoon and a third of baking powder, and then a couple cracks of freshly ground black pepper, about 1.5 teaspoons. For a good measure, add a pinch of paprika and salt to taste, about 1 teaspoon, and mix that all together. If you want to learn more about the secrets that restaurants are using to make their food, then make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. To bread these, I'll grab an onion ring and drop it into the flour. From there, I'll give it a light toss to coat and shake off any excess flour. This base coat of flour helps the buttermilk stick to the onion. Next, the onion is going to get swirled around in buttermilk, letting anything excessive drip off. Then I'll move it into the breading station I just made. I should mention, I try to use a separate fork for each bowl to keep the dry and wet stages as separate as possible, otherwise it just gets very messy. Now, a single coated onion ring could work, but to take it to the next level, we are going to recoat our onions in buttermilk and flour, making sure that every part of the onion is covered. Once I've got a full tray of double coated onion rings, over medium heat, I'm going to add a couple cups of oil for frying. If you have a Dutch oven or a big metal pot, I highly suggest you use that instead of trying to deep fry in a pan. Otherwise, you may end up with an oil shower. Slowly lower your rings into the hot oil and fry for 2 minutes before flipping and frying for another 2 minutes. Try not to touch them too much, otherwise you run the risk of debreading the onion rings. Then remove your rings and let them sit on a wire rack for a few minutes. Now, to make our beer battered onion rings, we will start by taking our raw onions and freezing them for an hour. The reason we freeze them is actually, while they are in the freezer, it removes some of the moisture, making that when we need to fry them, they will cook much faster. In a large bowl goes a 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, a half teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of salt. To make this a batter, we are going to use 10 ounces of a beer of your choice. If you don't want to use beer, or you don't like beer, or you just want to skip the alcohol, you can always use 10 ounces of your favorite plain seltzer. Whisk the batter until it becomes a thick liquid. Though depending on how you like it, you can add a bit more beer or take some out. This is all up to your personal preference. If you learned something new about onion rings today that you didn't know before, then make sure to leave a like on this video. So same as before, I'm going to have a separate bowl. First, coat our onion rings with regular flour. Coating the onion ring with flour will help the batter stick. If you skip this step, the batter will fall off the onion. Then swirl the onion around in the batter until fully covered. We are not going to do a double coat this time, so make sure that it's fully covered. Place your rings on a sheet tray to let all the excess batter come off. Once again, if you have a pot, please use that. Otherwise, pour about 3 cups of oil, or as much as you need to deep fry, and once it reaches 350 degrees, fry your onions for 1 to 1.5 minutes aside, flipping in between. If you're enjoying this video so far, make sure to leave a like on this video. Keep an eye out, these cook much faster than the crispy ones. Place an oven rack to let the extra oil drip off. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, make sure to let me know in the comments below. Otherwise, I highly suggest you watch this video on how to make Chick-fil-A's famous chicken sandwich.